Today, friends, we are going to use Tinkercad Sketch Revolve to make an awesome top. So let's get cracking. This is Tinkercad.com. It is absolutely free, runs in a web browser. You can get here by visiting Tinkercad.com. Once you do, simply sign in with Google. This is what the homepage looks like. I'm going to go down to Designs. You can create 3D designs, circuits, and code blocks. All of our projects are saved to the cloud. You can see I've made several tops here. We're going to start with a brand new one by simply hitting Create 3D Design. I like to start by naming projects. I'm going to call this Top V6. I have made lots of these. You can put your initials after it, whatever you want, but make sure you name it. Traditionally in Tinkercad, we build with solid shapes. This is a cube. I drop it in place. Say I wanted to play with a cone, I could bring it out and set it beside it, or I can cruise it on any face of it. Now, I had several tutorials where we used to make tops with cones. If you want to see that, I'll put links up in the corner. We're going to make this completely different, but before I do that, I want to show you one more thing. Believe it or not, this is already saved. If we bounce back to the Tinkercad dashboard, bang, there is our project. It is private, but it is permanently saved that quickly. To re-enter, you simply hit Tinker This. Now, I don't want to build my top this way. I want to instead use the brand new Sketch Revolve. Now, when I bring this in, I'm zooming in. This is with my scroll wheel. And then I'm going to set it at a center by center spot. I just want you to understand it is a 20 by 20 grid shape. That is handy when you're tracing things. Now we're going to zoom out and I'm going to just show you that this is 1 centimeter each way. And then right here you can learn about the sketch features. This is updated all the time. Make sure you get in here, read them, check out the animations. They are absolutely fantastic. When you are done learning, you can simply hit continue to sketch to back out. If you ever want them again, they are right there. All right, so let's get to drawing. This brown line is the bottom line. And then I'm going to choose to have a system where we slide in the part that it spins on. So we're going to simply make a straight line that goes up 4 millimeters and hit escape. So right now you can see there's a 2 millimeter gap here. We're going to adjust this. I want this to be pretty sturdy, so we're going to type the number 3 and press enter. And then we have to click on this. I'm going to set my nudge to 0.5. And if we click on that line and go 1, 2, 3, you can see now we've got the 3 millimeters here that are going to give this a 6 millimeter gap when it spins. That's going to be what our top starts with. All right, so let's start super fast and let me show you just how this works. P for pen starts another one, and then right now I'm going to simply draw straight lines. I want to go from the middle of this, so I'm going to make sure I'm back to my 0.5. And I can start right from that point. I need an angle. So notice right here, I'm 6 millimeters up. This will be about 10 millimeters up. And I'm going to come out past 2 centimeters. So there's 2 centimeters. Let's go to 25. I'm going to just click and make a straight line. I'm going to choose to make this part 3 millimeters thick. I'm going to come back towards the middle. And then I'm going to slope this up so that it finishes about 4 centimeters high. So there's 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go 3.5, so 35. Here I'm going to press the number 2, and I'm going to click, hold, and twist to give it the handle shape I want. If we hit escape, that finishes, and you can look over here at the shape of our top. That's how quickly you can design one of these. Now, after you build it, you can also edit it. I'm going to click on this corner, and instead of a corner, I'm going to press number 2 to make it smooth. It instantly adjusts to another shape. How cool is that? These are called smooth handles. Notice they both move. If I press number 3, they become independent handles or broken handles. Now I can stretch these and make them different. I'm going to bring this out here so that it goes straight for a second. And then I'm going to take this line, click on the whole line and hit number 2. Bang! It smooths it automatically for us. Say I want this to have a curve. I'm going to try number 2 as well. You cannot see the adjustment very well, but just like this, I can move this handle and nudge it so that we get a different top shape. Once again, it has a decent slope, so this should print pretty well. Now we have a gap on this. Check this out. You can click the point and use the arrow keys to nudge it where you want. Same thing for handles. We can click on that handle and adjust it as well. Notice it is not rotating, it is moving to a new spot, making our top look just a little bit different with each adjustment. You can have as much fun as you want finding the design you think is cool. I'm going to double click to finish that, and notice this is just a line here. It is currently 2 millimeters thick. I like this, but I want to put some more material here so that it's stronger. I'm going to double click to close it, hit P for pen, and I'm just going to make a shape that goes back here to the middle, slopes up. Notice whenever you're printing, anything that slopes is more efficient. I'm going to make sure it comes up to this point. I'm going to come out here. Once again, these are all straight lines. Now I'm going to press number 2 to build a bezier curve, and I just want it to come close to those lines, close to those lines. And then I'm going to click out here, click and hold to make it follow that shape, and then finish. So those are going to overlap. When we hit finish sketch, check it out. There is our cool top shape. If you want to adjust anything, you can double click on it and you can tweak it to make it look exactly how you want. Say I want to make this a little bit thinner at the top. You just drag it to the spot and hit finish until you're happy. All right, so let's quickly create the point it spins on. Set this back to 1. Let's bring out the sketch tool. I want to set it away from that part, and I need it in a 20 by 20 grid. Once again, that's just easier for lining it up. All right, so let's draw that point. I'm going to click out here, and remember it was 6. So I'm going to move out to 2.5. If you did not reset this, you can real quick. Then I'm going to move up 5 millimeters and out. What this is going to do is give that a slope so that it's easier to put in. And then once again, I said I wanted mine to be a point. And then I'm going to finish it. Bang! This will slide in pretty easily and it'll stop at that point. If you want to make sure it stops a little better, check this out. Double click and just make this go 0.5 millimeter past. Now it for sure cannot slide past this spot because of the 6 millimeter hole we added. If you wanted these to be a different shape, I will show you that you can click on this and press 2 to make it a curve. Of course, at that point, I would come out here and make sure this ended like that. So you could test how they spin on rounded shapes, or let's go back by just hitting the number 1. When I hit finish sketch, bang, there is the part that we're gonna slide in. Now, if you think this is too much slope, check this out. We can simply double click to edit. And instead of 0.5, let's do 0.25. And when we click on that point, it just moves out close to that 6, but it'll still slide in. We could also press number 4. I can click to create a point right here, hit V so I can edit points, and I could actually make that so it was straight up for a long time and then point it out. And finally, when you're happy, double click and finish sketch. Of course, you can have fun making these as custom as you want. So let me show you how to set this up for 3D printing. I'm going to do separate pieces. I'll show you why in a moment. So first, export STL. I'm going to put it in my 3D modeling folder, and I'm going to call this top V6. Then I'm going to click on the point, and I'm going to do export STL, and this will be top V6. And I'll put the word point so I know which is which. All right, so let's bounce to Bambu Lab Studio. Let's add that file. Once again, they're in my 3D modeling folder. I'm going to grab them separate. There's the top. Hit add again, and I'm going to grab the point. I want several of these points just because they're cool to have extra. I'm going to right click and I'm going to do clone, and I'm going to add 3 of them. Click OK. I'm going to do Control A to grab everything, and I'm going to auto arrange it. I will allow it to rotate, and bang, they are all set up. Now I'm going to turn on brim, just because I like to have a little brim with this project. I'm going to set it up as an outer brim. I've had success printing them without it, but it just doesn't hurt, and it does not waste that much material anyway. I'm going to do Control A to grab everything again, and I want to set these to be a different color. Instead of brown, I am going to choose the bamboo orange. 0.2 millimeter settings, slice that plate, and print that plate. We will have the points and the top in about 40 minutes. Today I'm going to enable the time lapse and let's send it to the 3D printer. And not too much later, bang, we've got a top and some points. All right, so here we are. This is the top we just made. Peel off that brim and it slides in just like that. Give it a push to get a little more firm. So of course the top is completely symmetrical. We've got this awesome track. These are snap fit, so you can build them on a smaller printer. I've got a tutorial for that as well. You can check the link up above. And finally, let's test our top. And then this is how you would do battles. You could have two people start their own tops together, or like me, I'm just starting everything I've made to see which one stays the longest as you explore making Tinkercad tops using Sketch Revolve. And bingo, the silver one wins. How cool is that? So quickly as we wrap up, of course, I'm not using this in a classroom, but I'm hoping it does get used in a classroom. If I were a classroom teacher, I would set up rules for the maximum height, the maximum radius, which of course would give you the diameter, so that you end up with a fun competition for the students. I do also want to remind you there is a cool snap fit track. I'll make sure there is a bit.ly for that video up above, or you can track it down in the cards. As I wrap up, I do want to say thank you to everybody that supports me via YouTube memberships. Don't forget there are 3 different levels of support starting as low as $5 a month. With any level of support, you get early access to videos. Also, a massive shout out to my Patreon group. Love how it's growing. We are almost up to 300 members. It has a fantastic messaging area. You can ask me questions, also gain skills, and share designs. Of course, friends, you can learn more with the bit.ly up above or the link in the description. Finally, friends, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget every time you hit that like button, hype button, share a video, or add a comment down below, you're helping HLModTech get just a little bit bigger, which absolutely makes my day. Friends, have a glorious day, and keep tinkering.